Hey guys, Mike here from Lunch Money Comics with another comic book roundup video. This is where I show off all the cool comics and comic related things I found in strange and unusual places over the last month or so that I haven't yet shown on the channel. And if you are a regular viewer of this channel and you're thinking to yourself right now, hey Mike, didn't you just do one of these? You're absolutely right. Not that long ago, I did a big one of these. It was sort of a mid-summer update where I showed off all the cool stuff I got in the first couple months of the summer. And honestly, I wasn't planning on doing another one of these until the fall. The thing is, guys, when it rains, it pours. Once you start getting some comic books, it causes a chain reaction. I was on vacation. I went to some pretty cool places, found comic books there, went to, flea markets, went to local comic book stores. I did some trades, and before you know it, I'm surrounded by more cool comic books. And with a couple big shows coming up soon, I just wanted to do a little cleaning house, right? I wanted to show off these comic books, then I can put them away, get the footage out there into the ether, and I'll be pretty happy to kind of move on as I'm going to some these bigger trips. So those of you that watch the channel a lot, just indulge me for a second. I do have some really cool stuff to show you. Before I do, if you like this sort of stuff and you want to support the channel, head on down, hit that like button. Having done this for 2 years, guys, I can tell you nothing works better helping the channel grow than hitting that silly like button. And of course, word of mouth does too. So tell your friends if you like this sort of stuff. Also, follow me on Instagram. Let's jump into it. I'm actually going to show you something that's not comic related, but it's pretty cool for the channel. I've met this awesome guy online on Instagram. He goes by the name of Dr. Plagueis. Really cool, plague doctor icon. He's actually on Instagram. I see him show up in a lot of my comments, a lot of the live shows I do with my friends on YouTube. He's a really great guy. He has some really cool content on Instagram as well. Well, he reached out to me and he told me that he has his own printing company and they do things like shirts and stickers and things like that. And he wanted to know if I wanted some stickers for some conventions and things like that. And I said, sure, why not? And then, I gave him my address, and before I knew it, check these out. I got a whole bunch of really nice, high-quality Lunch Money comic stickers, guys. And I'm not one of those people that has merch. I just want to be crystal clear. People have gifted me shirts before with my logo, but I don't do stuff like this. I feel it's very self-important. I'm really bad at promoting myself. But if someone wants to make these for me, I'm happy to hand them out, guys. People ask for this sort of stuff. So if you bump into me at a comic book show, I will definitely have these on hand. But one other thing I want to show you that's really cool. He was doing this for a lot of people. He reached out to a ton of YouTubers, was making these stickers. But some of them who are self-professed sports fans online, he made special stickers for. For instance, Joe from 360 Comics is out of Philadelphia. He made him a really cool 360 Comics logo that's styled after the Philadelphia Phillies. Well, he made one for me. I make no secret, guys. I'm a huge Boston sports fan, especially the Bruins. And he made me some Boston Bruins inspired stickers in the spoked B, the black and gold. How cool is that? I know for people who aren't Bruins fans, probably don't care, but of course I'm in New England and I know plenty of people who are, so I'm pretty happy to hand these out. Guys, I can't say enough great things about, Dr. Plagueis here. If you don't follow him on Instagram, definitely do so. I'll put his information down in the description. And if you're looking for stickers or t-shirts or anything like that, definitely hit him up. He does awesome, awesome work. And again, I cannot get past how good the quality is on these things. Very, very cool. All right, comic book time. Let's start with my favorite local comic book store, His and Her Comics in Greenfield, Massachusetts. I talk about them all the time. Awesome owner named Nishan, who I've become really good friends with over the years. And because it's my local comic book store, I go there all the time. And the comic books I have here to show you are from several different trips to His and Her Comics. So let's start with this stack right here. Normally they have dollar books and 25-cent books, in the store back issues. Well, they were having a special sale that all the dollar books were 3 for $1. And as fate would have it, Nishan ended up selling these to me as 4 for $1, 25 cents each. I'm going to go through them really quick, starting with this right here. This is Amazing X-Men number 6. So this series came out in 2013, and the first issue featured the return of my favorite character, Nightcrawler. Yeah, Nightcrawler had previously died, saving Hope Summers from the character of Bastion. And I was mad. He died. He's my favorite character, right? Of course, it's a comic book death. They do not last. They had to bring Nightcrawler back. He's so important to the X-Men. And basically, it's a swashbuckling adventure where he's leading the hosts of heaven and the X-Men against the hosts of hell, led by his, at the time, father, Azazel. And it was very cool. It was like a piratey adventure, kind of like the Netherrealm. It was really, really cool. But I only read the first 5 issues. That was when that sort of storyline concluded. However, Nightcrawler carried it over as a very prominent character in this run. So I was very pleasantly surprised when I found past issue 5, issue 6, all the way to, what do we have here? Issue number 19. So pretty cool, guys, you know, to add this to my amazing X-Men run. Absolutely. And again, Nightcrawler is prominent in a lot of these, but you even have some cool stuff like this, like Spidey and his Amazing Friends cover. Very, very cool. Happy to get these for 25 cents each. Another book I found in there that was 25 cents each was this. This is the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl number 4. And this is her against Galactus. Now, for those of you that follow Squirrel Girl, she's a weird, quirky character that has a claim to fame that even though she just kind of controls squirrels, she can beat like the biggest villains in all of Marvel Comics. She's beat Doctor Doom before, right? So this is a series where she punches way above her weight, and she goes up against Galactus and beats him. Kind of. She doesn't fight him. She basically becomes friends with him and talks him out of devouring the Earth. Kind of silly, but it's a cool cover. It's like video game inspired, kind of like a Capcom fighting game by Erica Henderson. Yeah, and it's a pretty cool issue. The reason I got it, I thought my kids would enjoy this. They really like Squirrel Girl, and it's pretty funny to watch her basically become best friends with Galactus. Silly, but kind of fun. Good for the kids, right? Another time I was at His and Her Comics, he got a new collection and he had a ton of stuff out on the counter. Everything was $2, I believe, and there was a lot that I wanted. But I ended up getting this one here. So this is Captain America number 695. This is actually an homage cover. You see it's lenticular. So one side you see Alex Ross is art of Captain America. And then, again, I'm not doing it justice turning it on the camera here, but the other one is Invincible Iron Man 126 is the homage right there. So, again, it's from 2018. Pretty cool. I just like, it's also lenticular on the back. Avengers ad right there. So I thought it was cool. My kids are like amazed and transfixed by lenticular covers for whatever reason. When we were kids, you know, in the 80s and 90s, these were everywhere. Kids these days, right? So the same time I was there getting that book, there's always a couple boxes on the counter of sort of like new stuff he got in. Yeah, I was going through there, you know, nicer stuff, and I saw a book that I don't own that I've always wanted. And here it is. So this is Marvel Spotlight Volume 2, number 6. And this is Marvel Spotlight on Star-Lord. The saga begins. So yeah, this is from 1980, and this features the first appearance of Peter Quill Star-Lord in comics. Let me clarify there. So his first appearance actually was in 1976 in Marvel Preview number 4, but it was a black and white magazine, and he appeared in several of those stories in those black and white magazines, but it wasn't until this issue in 1980 that he appeared in a proper comic book. And this is true of a lot of the characters, kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy, like Rocket Raccoon has a very similar story. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So first comic book appearance of Peter Quill, Star-Lord. I think I got it for $10. Pretty good deal. I like this book. It's great shape too. Okay, next up. Now this is super cool, guys. So I was unfortunately on vacation during a really cool event at His and Her Comics where he got Michael Doney, who I've mentioned on my channel in the past, who is a famous comic book artist. Not only does he still do comic books now, but he's mostly known because he worked for Mirage Studios that did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in the 80s and 90s. And he's a guy who lives out here in Western Massachusetts. He was at His and Hers doing not only a signing, but also doing custom art for people. And I was really upset. Like, they ended up moving the dates around, so I couldn't make it, but I had put my order in for what I wanted Mr. Doney to do. So I actually have a couple of pieces of art from Michael Doney already down here. Full disclosure, I've met him before several times. Really cool guy. But, you know, he's such a good artist, guys. I can never say no to more art. So first and foremost, this was because of the celebration of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 40th anniversary. You see right here, this is the 40th anniversary one-shot. There are several different covers here, and this is the one that Michael Doney did. This is his cover, and you can see he remarked on it right there. You see the little Ninja Turtle. Very, very cool. But the biggest thing that I wanted to get there was there is a new book out, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's published by IDW in their 25th anniversary, actually. And the first issue just came out, and you can get a blank sketch variant, where it's just a blank white cover. Well, Mr. Doney was taking orders. He could do little sketch covers, you know, just in pencil. He could do color ones. He could do multiple characters. He could do fancy works of art, whatever you wanted. Because I was going on vacation, I just quickly told the owner, Nishan, just give me Raphael, right? I already have a Leonardo by him. Just give me Raphael. Had I thought about it more, I might have done someone like, you know, Casey Jones or something like that. But I got Raphael, and when I went back to the store to pick it up, this is what it looked like. So again, this is a sketch cover, guys. He actually sketched on this. This is real original art of Raphael on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, and very cool. He put a little sketch on the back. I thought that was really, really neat, guys. He's an awesome artist, obviously. I did see afterwards that one person asked him for a Fugitoid cover, which came out amazing. Wish I'd thought of it. What a deep cut. Very cool. So, guys, very happy to have this. I love this original art stuff. Very, very cool. But that's not all. I mentioned that I know Michael Doney. I've met him several times. And recently, I found some comic books for him. He really likes the artist Owen Fitzgerald, and an old-timey artist. And I find comic books that he's done a lot, especially like Bob Hope and stuff. And when I find these comic books, I put them aside for Michael Doney. Yeah, and he's often sent me something as like a thank you. Well, he did that, right? I got a couple of comic books for him. I talked about it on the channel. And he left this stuff for me at His and Her Comics. And what did he leave me? He left me a portfolio of prints that he's done. And these are pretty much all Jean Grey. The thing is, it's not for me. Yeah, even though it was a thank you for me, it was actually for my little sister, all right? So I've mentioned on my channel, my little sister loves Jean Grey. Michael Doney watches my channel, and he knows that she likes that. So he sent me this letter saying, hey, be a good big brother and send her these. I'm actually going to see her soon out in Oregon. And so let me just show you what these look like because they're amazing. That's beautiful right there. We've got, let me jump ahead and show you the big one. How cool is that? Amazing, right? Also a couple of these, I'm not sure what series these are from, but they're sort of like old, like Victorian era, kind of steampunky versions. So these are all for my sister, so hopefully I can plan on releasing this video after I visit her, so it's just a surprise for her. But he did throw one thing in here for me. When I saw him last at the Western Mass Comic Book Show, he had a print that I really wanted. And I walked away and came back, and the only copy he had was gone. So I didn't get it. I was kind of bummed about it, but he remembered, and he sent it to me. So this is his take on The Rocketeer. I believe he used this. I'm not sure if he used this for a cover or not. I don't remember. But it's a beautiful, beautiful print. It would do Dave Stevens proud, I think. Absolutely gorgeous. Very cool. He signed it down here. There's a limited number of them, but how awesome is that? Very thoughtful of him. So Michael Doney, thank you so much for all of this stuff. Absolutely. You know, these are great. My sister will be very happy, I think, and I'm very, very proud to add this to my original art, that, you know, my little collection that I'm building right now. And once again, guys, I'm gonna put links to all of Michael Doney's art and links down below. He's an incredible artist. So definitely check him out, guys. Thank you, Michael. Look forward to seeing you next time. I was recently on vacation, ironically, back in the area I grew up in. I was on the North Shore of Massachusetts. I was actually visiting the beautiful seaside, idyllic town of Rockport, Massachusetts, a place I don't want to talk up too much because it's absolutely awesome and I don't want them to have too many tourists. It's a really fantastic place. I kid. You should definitely visit there if you ever have the chance. And I go there a lot. Again, I grew up in the area. I was always there. I love visiting with my wife and kids. We've stayed there before. And there's this beautiful little jetty. They call it Bearskin Neck. And there's all sorts of little quaint little shops, lobster shacks, things like that. There's also a very tiny bookshop. Like really tiny, like smaller than the room I'm in right now. And at that time I was there, I was having a hankering for some comic books. I hadn't come across any while we were on vacation. I walk in this little bookstore and I found this. This is Usagi Y Jimbo 40th Anniversary Reader. Yeah, this is the 40th anniversary of Usagi as created by Stan Sakai. Let me read the back. This is a collection of fan favorite short stories from the world of Usagi Y Jimbo. A perfect introduction to, in a celebration of, the Rabbit Hero. Now, the reason I'm so excited for this is that I recently came across a Usagi Y Jimbo comic book at a yard sale. I mentioned on my channel I was interested in reading that. People told me I would love it, but I didn't really know what the jumping off point would be. Like, do I start in the very beginning? You know, what are the best issues to read, the best stories? Well, here you have them all consolidated into one. This is like the greatest hits. Couldn't say no, guys. It was $15. What a cool thing to come across on vacation. I had plans to read this while I was on vacation, but you guys know how it is. Didn't have time. So I haven't got around to this. I can't wait to read it. Let me know down in the comments if you're a Usagi Y Jimbo fan. On the same trip, though, I swung by one of my favorite old haunts, which is a flea market on the North Shore of Massachusetts called Todd Farm. I used to live in the next town over. I was at Todd Farm every single weekend. Absolutely love the place. I don't get to go there enough. Maybe once a year. I've done a couple of videos on the place. And I went on this day, and yeah, there was lots of cool stuff. But there wasn't a ton of comic books. I did come across a couple of vendors that had some. One guy had a box full of dollar comics. And while I was going through them, actually, there was a guy next to me going, "Don't bother, I already went through them all." Which I thought was kind of a funny thing to say, right? But I still was able to find some really cool stuff in there for $1. This is the first one, guys. This is Iron Man number 284. It's from 1982. Cool cover by Kevin Hopgood and Joe Sinnott, actually. And this is a couple things going for it. It's the apparent death of Tony Stark. We know he didn't really die, but it's mostly known as the first time James Rhodey, puts on the War Machine armor. You see a silhouette there over Tony Stark's corpse. So yeah, so Rhodes, War Machine, he actually starts wearing it for the first time here. The armor had appeared, in a couple issues previous to this, although it's Tony Stark wearing it. when he's dead, Rhodey puts on the armor. He's still called Iron Man until West Coast Avengers number 94 when he takes on the moniker of War Machine. But this is the first time James Rhodes is in the War Machine armor. So because of that is a key issue. I like War Machine. Cool comic book to pick up. And the next book, guys, you wouldn't believe it. You know what I found at this flea market? An Amazing Fantasy 15. Obviously not. This is a reprint. There's tons of reprints of this book. But this one's actually pretty cool because this is a Toy Biz reprint. I think this one's from 2005. This would have come with a Marvel Legends action figure of Spider-Man, presumably. And you see this sometimes, guys, where like an action figure will come with a reprint of a comic book, sometimes with a different cover. They're actually cool and they can be collectible because you can't buy them otherwise outside of that action figure. That's exactly what this is, and it is a straight reprint of AF-15. The entire story's inside. It's cool. It's a cool cover, guys. It's one of the most iconic of all time, one of the best of all time. $1. I'll pick this up all day. So here's the thing, guys. I actually got a couple other things at this flea market that aren't comic books, but they're definitely worth showing off. This is a record. Yeah, so this is a cool piece of vinyl. It's a Superman record, obviously. I've talked about records like this on my channel in the past. I actually own several of them. They're all DC. I only ever find DC ones. And basically what they are is, narrations of Superman stories right there, right? Different people reading those stories. I think the sound effects and things like that. What really jumped out to me for this one is two things. One, it's sealed. It's completely sealed. This is from 1975. Has never come out of the plastic. You do see it's trimmed on the top corner. I believe this is when like a record was like discounted. Let me know down in the comments if you know if that's true. Again, records are sort of before my time. I'd love to hear from you that have been around the block. But the biggest reason I want this book, guys, is because of this amazing front. If this looks suspiciously similar to Superman number 233, which is an iconic cover by Neil Adams, that's because this is also by Neil Adams. Superman breaking through the chains. Yeah, this is a Neil Adams album cover. How neat is that? As a Neil Adams fan, guys, even if I'm not a huge Superman fan, this is a cool thing to pick up. I got it for $10. Again, sealed, beautiful condition. Awesome. I gotta find a cool place to put this up, guys, because I absolutely love it. Speaking of Superman, I just mentioned that I'm not the biggest Superman fan, so it might surprise you to hear that this next book, which is a Superman-themed book, I intentionally sought out and bought on eBay. And it's this. This is DC Comics Presents number 35. It's from 1981, and like most DC Comics Presents, it is a team-up comic book. In this case, we're teaming up Superman with Man-Bat, actually, and they're going up against the Atomic Skull. Pretty cool. I actually read this story. It was interesting. It was kind of cool to see Superman interact with a strange character like Man-Bat, but that's not the reason I got this comic book. I actually got it for the second story, which is called Whatever Happened to Rex the Wonder Dog. And to explain why I wanted this, we have to do a little bit of a deep dive. I've mentioned on my channel many times in the past that when I like a series like the X-Men, I like to collect the first appearances of those characters. Well, I also love Justice League Dark, those darker DC characters, and I collect their first appearances as well. Characters like John Constantine and Swamp Thing and Zatanna and Etrigan the Demon and Black Orchid. I like those characters, and I've been collecting those issues. Well, in the second volume of Justice League Dark, we have sort of a new iteration of the team. Actually, one of them is Man-Bat, but another one of them is Detective Chimp. So I wanted the first appearances of Detective Chimp, of course. The problem is, this is true of a lot of these DC characters, a lot of them go back to the 40s and 50s, and those Golden Age first appearances are incredibly expensive. So because I can't really afford a first appearance of Dr. Fate or the Spectre or Phantom Stranger or Wonder Woman, who's also in Volume 2 there, I end up opting for the first Silver Age appearances of these characters, and you'll see several of them behind me. That's sort of my way of saying I kind of got a first appearance in like modern comics. It's not the original Golden Age one, right? So I wanted Detective Chimp. The thing is, it's a really tough character to track down. His first appearance is actually in Rex the Wonder Dog number 4 in 1952. So Rex the Wonder Dog had his own series. He's a dog that basically had a super soldier serum, right? He is a superhuman dog that fought in the World Wars. He's super intelligent. In the 4th issue, we're introduced to Detective Chimp. He is a hyper-intelligent chimpanzee. His real name is Bobo. He solves mysteries. He literally wears like a Sherlock Holmes like deerstalker cap. And he's a cool character. And he had lots of adventures with Rex the Wonder Dog along with other smart animals and things like that all through the 1950s until 1959 with issue number 46 of Rex the Wonder Dog. That was the last one. And you did not see Rex or Bobo for decades. Until this issue right here. That's why we have this story. Whatever happened to Rex the Wonder Dog? This is telling you what happened to Rex and Detective Chimp. And it's a story where They are by Gil Kane, by the way. He did the art. And they are at a circus, and there's bad guys, and they're thieves. And, you know, the chimpanzee and the dog go after them. They end up in the swamps of Florida. They run into all sorts of issues. Rex gets hurt at one point. Bobo finds a nearby pool of water, gives him the water. They both drink it. They both feel great. They wake up. They're revitalized. They're energetic. They're young again. They stop the bad guys. They're heroes. And you find out at the end, they found the Fountain of Youth. Bobo, Detective Chimp, and Rex, the Wonder Dog, are basically immortal super beings now because they found the Fountain of Youth. It's a silly, quirky story. And for my money, it's sort of the first appearance of these characters in the modern age. Now, I can't say the Silver Age because technically the late 1950s was the early Silver Age. I don't know when that demarcation line happens in the Rex the Wonder Dog publications, but either way, guys, this is their first appearance in modern comics, and because Detective Chimp's a, Justice League Dark character now, I just had to have it. I had to read it. It's kind of silly. And incidentally, they both appeared really sporadically even after this. You didn't get Bobo again until, I think, Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is years after this, but now he's a very prominent character. So there you go, guys. Talk about a deep dive. This cost me a couple of dollars. I had to seek it out. I'm kind of counting this as sort of a Justice League Dark first appearance. Let me know down in the comments what you think of that. If you're familiar with either of those characters, kind of a fun little quirky thing, right? You can find all sorts of stuff on eBay, guys, with a little investigation. Next up, this is super cool. I have lots of people I've met online, guys, through Lunch Money Comics, through other YouTube channels that I've become friends with. And one of those people is Ryan from Collecting Casually. Yeah, Ryan's a YouTuber, does some great videos out of Kansas, and similar to me, he finds comics in strange and unusual places, but instead of like individual comics, he finds collections. And they're always really cool. He'll find them like on like Craigslist and stuff. And he's just really good at sniffing them out. He's also a huge Dave Stevens fan. And yeah, I've known him for the last year or so online, talking all the time. Well, he did a video where he found a collection. And when I was watching the video of what he got, I saw a book that I was really interested in. I mentioned to him offhandedly, like, hey, Ryan, I really like that book. He's like, oh, you can have it. And then I forgot about it. This was months and months and months ago. I completely forgot about this book. Well, the other day I got something in the mail. It says, Mike, sorry for the delay on getting this book to you. Hope you enjoy it. Ryan, Collecting Casually. What book was it? It's this. This is Forbidden Worlds number 138. It's from 1966. This has a really cool Magic Man cover. This is by Kurt Schaffenberger. Yeah, and the reason I wanted this is because it's an atomic cover. You see Magic Man has an atomic bomb right there. I like these atomic bomb covers, guys. And also, the whole thing about this makes me laugh. It's just like, if that ever lands, it's curtains. Curtains. I just love the old-timey language, right? Magic Man and Operation Vietnam. So I just thought it was a really cool looking comic book. It's actually in really good shape. And, I asked Ryan afterwards, like, yeah, how much do I owe you for this? I had every intention of buying it. He's like, nah, man, it's yours. He didn't care. He said it to me. So Ryan, thank you so much. Once again, guys, if you haven't checked him out, I will put a link down in my description. He has fantastic content. I also got to say this. Not only does he get great comics and he has great taste in comics, he's really good at editing. He is fantastic with just making the videos. It just has a great aesthetic to them. He's just really, really good at filming and editing. Highly recommended. So very cool. Thank you, Ryan. Awesome. Very cool comic book. So now I want to talk about another friend of mine I met through the hobby. This time, like, locally to me. I actually know him in the flesh. Rick from Has Been Collectible Toys and Comics. He's been in several of my videos very recently. Very awesome guy. We've become very fast friends. He gets in collections all the time. I go over, help him price them out and things like that. I really enjoy doing it. Again, he's a really cool guy. Yeah, and I was over there recently. Someone brought in a collection. Actually, it was someone who watched Lunch Money Comics, actually. They brought in a collection of comics that they sold to Rick. And what was really cool is that this individual, their mom worked for Marvel Comics, like in New York City, and he had a huge long box full of books that she had given him that were stamped on the front, like do not sell. Marvel would do this sometimes, they'd give them out to the employees, but stamped, you can't resell them. Whole box of them, pretty cool. I was having a great time going through those collections, talking with both of them. But yeah, because I'm over there all the time, Rick found a couple of books in some recent collections he knew I would like. The first one's this. So this is 2099 limited. This is an ash can size comic published by Hero. Right now, I think a lot of people know these were often handed out like at conventions and things like that, still sealed. There were tons of these back in the 90s. This is from 1993, and it features the X-Men 2099 team. This is a series I loved back when I was a kid. I own every single one of them, absolutely. I believe this cover is from X-Men 2099 number 3, which is the, spoiler alert, death of one of the characters here, Serpentina. But still, he knows I like 2099. And he found this. Guys, I thought my 2099 collection was complete. I've never seen this book before. It's got like a reflective mirror. I don't know if you're supposed to look at it and be like, oh, I'm part of the team. I don't know, but it's cool. Never seen it before. Rick, that was awesome. The other book he found, he wanted to give me, this is cool, is this. This is the Saga of Crystar, Crystal Warrior, number 6. It's from 1983. Now, Rick is very familiar with this series because it's based on a toy line. As a matter of fact, Marvel made this series in 1983 to sell toys, right? So in the year before this, 1982, they came up with this line of Crystar action figures. It's a fantasy world, kind of space themed, very similar to like He-Man, and the main character is this kind of crystal guy. And yeah, it doesn't really matter what the plot is, guys. It was to sell toys. There were 11 issues in the storyline, and although it's a sort of a separate world, there was characters who could kind of travel interdimensionally and stuff, would visit it, like Doctor Strange and my boy Nightcrawler right there. There's Kurt Wagner, and because Rick is a toy guy, that's mostly what he's known for. He worked for Hasbro. He loves this series, but when he saw this book, and then I love Nightcrawler, he gave it to me. Very cool. Covers by Michael Golden, who did a lot of these issues. I'm actually going to see Michael Golden very soon at an upcoming comic show. I might have him sign this. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. It might be really, really cool. So, one of the times I was over there, though, Rick, because he's getting in lots of collections, but he's also going through a lot of books. He prices his books cheap, and he tends to sell through things really, really quickly because I was going on vacation. He's going on vacation. I have some big comic shows coming up. He was looking for books. I said, you know what, Rick? I have a short box of stuff I think you could use. So we ended up buying a whole bunch of comic books from me. I don't sell comic books very often, guys, but he needed them. I could use some money for some bigger books I'm looking for. I was happy to help him out. But to sort of sweeten the deal, in addition to all of, the money he gave me, I got some cool comic books to kind of make everything square. Here's the first one. This is The Mighty Thor, number 225. It's from 1974, cover up by John Buscema, written by Jerry Conway. And this is the first appearance of Firelord. Firelord is a Herald of Galactus, and when I was growing up, guys, I thought there were only 2 Heralds of Galactus. I thought there was Silver Surfer and Firelord. I had several comics with Firelord. He was even in the XMen board game I had as a kid. I've always liked Firelord. Here he is going up against Thor and Hercules. This is in pretty good shape. I almost bought this book recently, but it didn't have a Marvel value stamp. Well, this one has it intact. It's in pretty good shape, so I got this. Pretty happy to have the first appearance of Firelord. The other books I got in that, this is pretty crazy. Actually, I'll show this one first. Rick, because he has lots of toys and stuff. He also has some figures. I just had to have it, guys. This is, of course, an Iron Man figurine. I believe this is from Avengers Endgame. I think this is the Endgame armor. I'm not sure which mark that is. Iron Man mark like 35 or whatever it is. But it's the one from Avengers Endgame. Very cool. I thought it was pretty neat. It doesn't have the box or anything, but I'll find a cool place for it. I had to have it, right? You see something you like, you grab it. But the other one, I had to sweeten the deal, guys. This is the last book. He had it up on a shelf. It's a book I already own, but come on. Can't say no to it. This is X Factor number 24. It's from 1988, written by Louise Simonson. Her husband, Walt Simonson, did the art along with Bob Wyacek. And this is, of course, the first appearance of Archangel. This is Warren Worthington III, Angel. This is when he appears as Archangel, which is the horseman of death of Apocalypse. Apocalypse turns him into the Archangel. Everyone knows with the metal wings and the blue skin. This is his first appearance. I have this book already. I have several copies of it, but it was graded, and what I really liked about it, it's not because it's a 9.2, it's because it's an old slab. I've never owned an old CGC slab, and it's really thin and interesting, and it's kind of faded, and I just thought it was kind of neat. Again, it was a throw-in, guys. As an X-Men fan, I had to have it. This is basically an add-on. So, once again, Rick, you're the best, man. Thank you so much. I look forward to many more adventures with Rick in the future. Again, he's always looking out for stuff for me. I'm looking out for stuff for him, giving him leads on toys and things like that. Hope to have him in more videos in the future. But yeah, guys, it's great to have these relationships and network because you end up with all sorts of really cool stuff. And I got some money in my pocket for when I go to these upcoming big comic book shows. So I think I've saved the best ones for last. These next 2 comic books I got from someone who's also been on my channel in the past, a guy named Andy. Andy's the one I ended up buying a Hulk 181 from. I found an awesome collection down in his basement, and I offered to help him sell his collection, which he did. He sold most of that collection. We went to a comic book show, and here's the thing, guys. I'm still friends with Andy. I see him all the time. We go to flea markets together. We go yard sailing together. He's a cool guy. And I've been helping him with not only like comic books, but other things he finds. He still goes to like buy storage units and stuff. So because I know antiques, I'll help him go through antiques. I'll help him go through sport cards, things like that. Well, come to find out, he still had some comic books left over. And when I was over there recently looking, I said, hey, these 2 comic books are pretty cool because they feature Doctor Doom. And I think the entire comic book following world knows that, Doctor Doom is going to be in the upcoming movies played by Robert Downey Jr. And this first one is one I've wanted for myself for a while. Andy gave me a great price on both of these guys. First one is this. This is Fantastic Four number 57 from 1966. Of course, this is a Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Joe Sinnott creation. And it's just an iconic Doom cover. It also has a Silver Surfer. As a matter of fact, Dr. Doom defeats the Silver Surfer and steals his powers in this issue. Very cool one. I've always wanted this book. I already have a spot picked out for it on the shelf behind me. And this next one, also a Doom cover. This is number 86 from 1969. Same thing. Kirby, Lee, and Sinnott. I don't think it has a key significance at all. It has a really cool date stamp right there. Very cool looking book. I think I know exactly someone, a friend of mine, is looking for this to help finish their run. But yeah, guys, I got both of these for 60 bucks. Which, yes, of course, it's a great deal, and he was giving me a good deal on it. These are Huff books right now, I think, because of Dr. Doom, I'm assuming. But again, I've just always wanted this. And he has a ton of books left over. I was really surprised by how many good books that he did not sell from the last time. So definitely worth a second look. Very cool. Happy to get both of these at a great price. Awesome. So this next book I got from my good friends Josh and Larry of Magic Geeks. I've talked about them on my channel many times. They sell on Whatnot, and I've helped them with a couple of shows. They're really good real-life friends with me. I was hanging out with them last night. We went and had some drinks. I was over there recently helping them co-host a Whatnot show, but it wasn't really planned. See, Josh, one half of that duo, got held up at work, and it's really hard to run a Whatnot show by yourself. So Larry called me kind of like worried, like, can you come over and help me out? And I was like, yeah, I'm actually available. I went over there, and as fate would have it, Josh's work thing, whatever, fell through, and he was able to make it on time. So the three of us actually ended up running the show, and I always have a fun time doing this, guys. I really did. I even brought a couple books for some giveaways. You know, it was cool. It was a really, really good time. We always have fun. But they had some amazing Spider-Man books, Silver Age ones, that I thought were really cool. And again, you know, they're there to make money, so we're just selling them. They're going away. But I had mentioned a book beforehand that I was interested in, and I didn't realize what they were doing, but they held off on selling it. And at the end of the show, as a thank you for me sort of being Johnny on the spot and helping out, they gave me this book. And what book is it? It's this. This is The Amazing Spider-Man number 23 from 1965. This is a Stan Lee, Steve Ditko comic book. And this is the third appearance of the Green Goblin. It's also the first appearance of Norman Osborn outside the costume. You see him in a non-speaking role, like in the background. Yeah, and this was a gift. I couldn't believe it, guys. You know, it's not in the best shape. There's a big subscription crease down the middle. It's dirty, but it's a book I've always wanted because I love this cover. I love it. Just the Spider-Man upside down is super cool. You know, it's Ditko Spider-Man, but he looks like it's a little bit more refined than the earlier Ditko stuff, I feel like. The webs are super cool. I've always loved this comic book. I've been looking for it. I think even in previous videos, you can see me looking at this book at comic shows, and they gifted it to me for helping them out. I thought that was super cool. Josh and Larry, you guys are the best. Can't wait to do another show with you guys soon. Very cool. And the final book, guys, is another amazing Spider-Man book. I said I collect the first appearances of, yes, my X-Men characters, yes, Justice League Dark. I'm trying to collect the first appearances of Spider-Man villains. I'm getting a pretty good collection up there. I found this on Instagram. An Instagram seller I actually bought from in the past. I know it was a fantastic seller. It was a great deal, and I jumped on it. What book is it? It's this. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 194. It's from 1979, written by Marv Wolfman, pencils by Keith Pollard, covers by Al Milgrom. And of course, this is the first appearance of Felicia Hardy, aka the Black Cat. Not only, a villain, a foil to Spider-Man, but also his love interest, and sometimes ally and anti-hero. So yeah, she's sort of all over the place. They definitely had a notable romance, but come to find out, she really is only in love with Spider-Man, not Peter Parker. But a very, very cool character, and it's amazing how much this book has actually dropped in price. I've had several opportunities to buy this book in the past and didn't, and sort of kicked myself. But here I am, I see this book online, and it was posted by someone named Chef Grundy. Yeah, that's what he goes by on Instagram. And he sells great things. He actually works for a comic book store. I think it was $130, and I ended up getting this for $110 shipped. I got this book like in 2 days when he shipped it. I mean, he is just an awesome, awesome person. I cannot recommend him highly enough, guys. So Chef Grundy, I'll put a link to his Instagram account down in my description. Definitely follow him on Instagram. Always putting up crazy killer deals, absolutely. And I'm happy to have the first appearance of the Black Cat. And this is a pretty nice mid-grade copy. I think he said it was a 5.5. Yeah, I believe it. It's in really great shape. You know, there's not many spine ticks on the side or anything like that. Yeah, just a great looking book. Great price. Happy to add it to the wall next to all my other Spider-Man villains, even though she's sometimes a Spider-Man ally. Awesome. So there you go, a little bit of a longer roundup video, but like I said, when it rains, it pours, and I seem to get comic books in floods. Not that I'm complaining, I love everything that I got, but head on down to the comments and let me know which of my pickups you like the best. Obviously, I have too much stuff to hold up on camera right now. You'll have to remember what I showed off. But let me know which ones you like the best, and do you think I paid a fair price? For my money, I think the best reading I had was this little short story about a dog and a chimpanzee, of all things. And my favorite cover, it's got to be this, by the amazingly talented Michael Doney. As usual, I'll put links to all the people I mentioned in this video down in my description. Definitely check them out. And in the meantime, keep hunting for comic books in strange and unusual places. As you can see, you can find this stuff absolutely anywhere. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.